Hello, I'm Cameron Walker and you're watching GBN Royal. Today we're taking a look at a statement that's just been released by a spokesperson for the Princess of Wales. It's in response to questions surrounding Catherine's wardrobe and specifically how information about the clothes she wears is shared. So what's going on here? Let's break it down. A Kensington Palace spokesperson said, "Over the last week, I have received numerous questions about a story regarding the Princess of Wales's clothing and how Kensington Palace shares information about her outfits." The statement goes on to clarify that a royal source cited in a recent Sunday Times article with the headline "Princess of Wales, focus on my work, not my wardrobe," were from a spokesperson themselves, not from the Princess of Wales, and that those comments should not be directly attributed to her. The spokesperson also emphasised that there's been no change in our approach to sharing information about Her Royal Highness's clothing. Okay, so let's unpack this because there's quite a bit to process here. Now, for context, the Princess of Wales is one of the most photographed women in the world, and for better or worse, her fashion choices are almost always a talking point in the media. Whether it's a glittering Jenny Pacman gown for a red carpet event or a casual blazer while visiting a school, her outfits often make headlines. And understandably so. Her style is elegant, relatable, and often tells a story through British designers or nods to her causes. But with all that attention comes scrutiny, and that's where this story seems to begin. Last week, an article appeared that implied certain comments were directly from the princess herself. These comments were apparently about the behind-the-scenes process of sharing information about her wardrobe. Now, this is an important distinction. What the palace is saying is the Princess of Wales did not personally make those comments. Instead, they came from a spokesperson who was providing background information. That's a pretty standard practice, to be honest, in media relations. A spokesperson often shares details on behalf of their principals to help journalists accurately report stories. But in this case, it seems the comments were either misattributed or misunderstood. The spokesperson's final point is that there's been no shift in how Kensington Palace handles information about the princess's outfits. So for those wondering if there's a new strategy in play, the answer appears to be a firm no. But what does this mean in practical terms? Well, it's worth noting that details about the princess's outfits aren't always provided to the media. Sometimes we'll get a full rundown of designers and brands, while other times Kensington Palace opts to stay silent. It's a balancing act. On the one hand, the princess's wardrobe is a key aspect of how she connects with people. On the other, there's a conscious effort to keep the focus on her work, not just her clothes. For example, when the princess is highlighting an issue like mental health or early childhood development, the palace might deliberately downplay fashion details to ensure the message doesn't get overshadowed. But when it's a glitzy state dinner, for example, or a high-profile royal tour, sharing those details can become part of the broader narrative. Now here's where it gets tricky, because royal fans and the fashion industry love to dissect every element of her style. That interest drives clicks for magazines, it generates discussion, and yes, sometimes stirs up speculation. Was this outfit a nod to a specific country, for example? Was this brooch a hidden tribute to somebody? It's all part of the fascination surrounding the royal family. So why is Kensington Palace's statement worth noting? Well, I think there's three main reasons. First, it highlights just how much scrutiny the Princess of Wales is under, not just for what she wears, but for how this information is shared. Second, it shows the palace's commitment to setting the record straight, especially when inaccuracies arise in the media, appearing to go away from the late Queen's mantra of never complain, never explain. And finally, it's a reminder of the fine line Kensington Palace walks in balancing public interest with maintaining the princess's privacy and dignity. At the end of the day, it's clear that Kensington Palace wants to make sure there's no confusion here. The Princess of Wales didn't personally weigh in on how her wardrobe information is handled, and despite what some might have speculated, there's been no sudden change in their approach. This whole situation is also a reminder of how much the royal family operates under a media microscope. Every comment, every decision, even the ones about clothes, gets picked apart. So what do you think about this? Should the palace release more information about the princess's fashion to satisfy public curiosity? Or do they have it right by focusing on the princess's work? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss an update on all things royal. Thanks for watching. I'm Cameron Walker and this has been GBN Royal.
There's been a bit of a screeching U-turn coming from the palace, and we've got Cameron Walker here to tell us what that might be.
Gosh, well, you know the Princess of Wales and she wears some lovely outfits sometimes. Well, there was a report in the Sunday Times a few weeks ago from citing a Kensington Palace source saying that she's no longer going to be releasing outfit details because she wants the focus to just be on her work. Well, we have received a Kensington Palace spokesperson in the last hour or so, which appears to contradict that source, saying, to clarify, the comments that appeared in the article were from me, not the Princess of Wales. The comments that were reported should not be directly attributed to the Princess of Wales. To be clear, there has been no change in our approach to sharing information about Her Royal Highness's clothing.
Ooh.
Awkward.
That's very awkward. That made it worse, I think.
Yeah, so I think
Why
what's
is she
happened...
dumping it on... I mean, if it is indeed her, or maybe maybe this particular spokesperson was going rogue, going AWOL. I mean, what on earth has gone on there?
I mean, I can't tell you what's happening behind palace walls, but what I do know is I was surprised when I read the Sunday Times article, because from my understanding, on a normal day-to-day engagement, they don't release outfit details, but that's been formed for a number of years now. What they do release is details such as if she's at a state visit and she's wearing a lovely dress, or the kind of tiara she's wearing, because that tends to nod to the royal family's, you know, dynasty, a 1,000-year dynasty. So I was surprised that this was becoming a story, but it looks like we perhaps are. It's kind of no change. So I'm not quite sure why they've had to clarify this in a on-the-record spokesperson quote. But say, Louise,
yeah, because we were sort of told, weren't we, that Princess Catherine wanted the focus to be on her work that she's doing rather than her clothing, and I thought my instant reaction was, well, can't you have both? Isn't it nice to share what you're wearing? Lots of people look at you and think you look beautiful and love the clothing you're wearing. It's nice to help promote British brands and designers and things like that. I thought it sounded a little bit snooty. So now it doesn't seem to be the case. And that was one of the criticisms, that by the fact that the Princess would not be releasing these outfit details, it's not giving those much-needed British brands the kudos, perhaps, that they deserved. It was dubbed, when she married into the royal family in 2011, the Kate Middleton effect. Perhaps that's slightly condescending towards the Princess of Wales, but the point still stands. If you're a member of the royal family and you have this huge public profile, you do have the power to empower, you know, British brands, British companies, similar to the royal warrant, I suppose, with what you are wearing. And that's a nice thing. No one thinks you're a ditzy woman just because you're wearing a nice outfit or you give the details. Cameron Walker, thank you very much for bringing us that breaking news from the Kensington Palace.
But I must admit, I was watching the footage of them, or rather of Meghan. What did you make of her behaviour?
Well, it was Meghan the human limpet, wasn't it? I mean, she's never shy about doing PDAs with Harry, obviously, but I think this took it to a different level. And for me, Dawn, it kind of tied in with that social media post that she did the other day. And then if you watched her make a speech where she introduced Harry Invictus, she's kind of rebranding as this, it's sort of, oh gosh, social media teenager, less professional. She's giggling, she's squealing with excitement at things. I wasn't expecting to talk. She's very breathless. But then, as I say, the human limpet thing with Harry, it was as though she had to sit there with him and cling, not just cling onto his arm, she was holding his hand at the same time as well. She was gazing at him. She tilted her head onto his shoulder, like you say, as though they're on a date night. She looked like a cross between a woman on a date night and a mum going to her son's school open day. You know, it's proud mum or besotted wife on a date. Everything, she was taking photographs of him with her camera. She was doing that seal clapping that she does. And then there were these sort of wonderful looks of pride. I can't describe it. Her whole mouth sort of pinched together and puckered in a look of pride when his name was mentioned.
And how does Harry look during this?
Harry just looks like Harry. I mean, Harry looked either rather bashful. I mean, if we can see them here, you know, he's leaning in to listen, but he's got his son sort of scratching his mouth. I don't think that he was exactly too comfortable with these massively exaggerated, what are called overkill PDAs. At times he was leaning away from her slightly. He looked a lot happier when he was giving the sort of double thumbs up to the rest of the crowd and showboating on the stage, because I think, you know, he's very much with the people that he knows and loves, with all the sort of army people, etc. But he wasn't particularly joining in. I don't think you could. It was so overkill that, I mean, if he'd joined in, they'd have had to have got a room, I think. It would have been way too much.
And do you think, just very quickly, Judy, this is a happy marriage?
Oh, wow, Dawn, that's a big question, isn't it? How long have you got? 6 years doing newlywed justice should be ideal. I know with my partner, who I've been with for 45 years, if we started behaving like that, he would be thinking that I was up to something. But no, I think they have to be happy, and I think she wants to prove it to the world.
Judy, thank you very much.